just adjusting my hockey here. Hello, hockey fans. The Minnesota Hockey Connection is on the air. We're on the air for the next half hour. I'm Kenny Gallagher along with Jerry Burrow. And Jerry, I'm wearing my hairstyle from 1973 at Lower Chester. What do you think?
I think that looks like Miracle on Ice.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's that time of the year. The salads are in full bloom, and the locks are flowing as the Minnesota State High School hockey season is underway with section play. And I'll let you take it from here because you're the hockey expert, the hockey guru when it comes to hockey, and you see all the games except one.
There you go. I won't see the championship game for Hermantown this week, but that's all right. I'll see a lot of good games.
Well, we're taping Monday, the 27th. Tuesday, the 28th, we have, well, actually, there's some games tonight, Monday. Laverne will host Hutch. Redwood Valley is at Marshall. And then Tuesday, we've got 3 games in the Twin Cities, Delano and Blake, Woodbury, Stillwater, Minneapolis, and Breck.
I'll see the Woodbury and Stillwater game, the AA game over at Aldrich
And
Arena.
then Wednesday, things really heat up.
Right.
Holy Family in Eden Prairie, Casey Middlestead with Eden Prairie.
Boy, there's 2 great teams. Too bad they're in the same section, but that happens sometimes. And I tell you what, I think it's going to be a great game, and I'll be there because I can't miss a game like that.
Well, I think Eden Prairie is the fan favorite because they want to see probably the premier player in the state. Casey Middlestead is certainly a front runner for Mr. Hockey.
And there's more people that rather not have a private school there. They rather see the public schools. They think the public schools, it's their tournament.
St. Paul Academy, Totino Grace.
St. Paul Academy will be a big favorite in that game.
Really?
Yes.
All right. Roseau and Moorhead. That game's up in Thief River Falls.
Yeah, Roseau's playing some good hockey in the playoffs, and they got to the finals. But Moorhead's had a pretty decent year for being a young team. And, hey, that team, if Moorhead comes down, I wouldn't want to play them on the first game. They won't be a seeded team, but, some of those seeded teams, I wouldn't look ahead.
Is Tartan a surprise playing Hill Murray?
Big surprise. They beat White Bear Lake, which is a 3 seed, and Tartan's a 6 seed. But no one thought that would happen. They thought it would be the top 4 seeds in semis.
And then we have Greenway playing Hermantown at Amsoil Arena Wednesday at 7:30.
Yeah, that's a game I wish they can do it, but they won't. I say give Greenway spot them 7 goals and start the game. I think it'll be a great game then.
No, Jerry.
No, I'm just saying I want a great game.
All right. St. Paul Johnson, Matamita.
Matamita.
And then I saved the best for last. Wayzata and Edina clash at Mariucci at 8 o'clock on March 1st, Wednesday.
I've said this all year long. Watch out for Wayzata. They might be one of the lousiest records in AA still in the tournament. But they've only lost Edina. They played them twice this year, and it was close games. So it wasn't like lately it was 1-0. So there's a chance that Wayzata can beat Edina on Wednesday night at Mariucci.
We had Cloquet Esco Carleton and Duluth Marshall battle, and the game, Marshall took a late lead 1-0. It was tied up and then won in overtime. Those 1-0 games, those are tough games to try to get yourself out of, really.
Right. That's not a lot of scoring. And even that Cloquet Marshall game went to the last minute in their quarterfinal game. And then each team scored 1, and then Cloquet 1 and 2 overtime.
And then Duluth East
1-0 only.
That's a tough loss.
It was a tough game.
A 1-0 loss is a tough loss.
And they had a couple not so good penalties, East did, in that third period. And Cloquet could have got back in that game and sent it into overtime.
Sure. Well,
but the big game, I think, this previous week was the Elk River and Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids got seeded 4, and that's how they played Elk River in the semis. And Elk River wasn't happy with that seed, but there's 9 teams that vote on this, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. So, hey, you got to beat them all anyhow to get to state.
Or you were saying that some of the folks with Elk River were upset.
Some of the folks, assistant coaches, and head coach embarrassed their team.
That's too bad that it has to come down to that, because the key really isn't the seeding, it's scoring more goals than the other team.
Right. And they were ahead 2-0 going into the third, and I'll tell you what, you get that, it's probably the best line in the state in AA, and get them going.
You know, that's such a horrible argument, because here you are this time of the year, and you've got to be at your strongest. You've got to win these early playoff games. When it gets down to being at state, you can't complain about that stuff.
Yeah, when you lose, you get a lot of extra whining and complaining.
All right, Thursday, March 2nd, high school hockey playoffs, Alexandria and St. Cloud in St. Cloud.
I'll take St. Cloud. St. Cloud's playing pretty good. But Alex can give them a battle right to the end.
Of course, that's St. Cloud Cathedral. How about War Road and East Grand Forks?
I'll put the favorite. I'll take East Grand Forks on that one, too, the number 1 seed.
That game will be at the Mini Ralph in Thief River Falls. Chisago Lakes at Monticello. We have Lakeville South and Lakeville North. North and South.
North beat them twice this year. I'm going to go with the upset special. Here it is.
Hey.
Lakeville South over North.
That's a good spot for an upset.
That's hard to win 3 times a lot of times.
Maple Grove at Centennial.
Centennial played real good this year, and a lot of people like this team. But you know what? Maple Grove is playing very good after the first of the year. And I think, I'm going with Maple Grove.
And 2 of the best this Thursday, March 2nd, state high school section playoffs. Let's start with Bloomington Jefferson and St. Thomas Academy.
I think St. Thomas will blow them away.
Blow them away.
Yes.
Bloomington Jefferson's been somewhat of a surprise to this point.
They beat Burnsville, 6 seed and 2 seed.
All right. And last but not least, close to home, Grand Rapids and East Amsoil Arena, Thursday, 7 o'clock.
That's a toss-up. I'll say that the goalie that plays good, the best, the first 2 periods, that team will win.
Going to come down to goaltending?
Yes.
Which is not too uncommon this time of the year.
Right.
All right.
Let's go with it. Last year, East goalie had a problem, but I think he's more mature, and I think he can get the job done. But they're going to need one of his best games.
Was it 2 years ago that East stunned Grand Rapids?
Right, when that third period,
Yeah.
they had about 20 shots. It looked like a swarm of orange and black going all over, the Halloween colors.
Grand Rapids hasn't forgotten that. So, so high school hockey is heated up. And what are some other high school hockey notes?
Well, just the playoffs, these section plays sometimes are a lot better games than sometimes the state tournament games. The atmosphere at state tournament is great when Stadium XL's filled up, for the AA games. But I tell you, some of these section games, you get the local fans. I mean, it's going to be a big crowd at Amsoil, and there'll be big crowds down at Mariucci on Wednesday night when they have 2 games there. And I tell you what, there's not any more excitement in any sport than hockey playoffs. Mm-hmm. And if you have a chance to get to any of these games, get there in person. I know up north here it'll be on TV, but just being there in person is 10 times better.
Well, high school hockey rules this time of the year, and that was evident last week when the Bulldog men and women, they had to play Thursday and Friday night games to accommodate the Saturday high school games at Amsoil Arena.
Yeah, and thank God UMD allowed that to happen. I remember when the previous ladies coach, Shannon Miller, she wouldn't change her time and that, so boys teams have to play, at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it was just early in that.
Yeah.
And then that meant teams had to come here the night before even.
Yeah.
So they...
Well, they don't have to worry about that because she's not here.
That's right, and it worked good this year.
So the UMD Bulldog men and women still playing. The women are into their playoff series. They're going to play the Gophers, Jerry.
Yeah, 5 o'clock on Saturday down at Ritter Arena. It's kind of funny, it's at Ritter, and that's the home rink for the Gophers.
Yeah.
But that's, I guess, that's a great venue for, it's like the Final Five. It's the Final Four.
You would mention, and other people have, that this girls' high school playoffs, they play at XL Energy Center. And let's face it, the girls' hockey, they just don't draw the same numbers that boys and men do. And why don't they play these girls' games at a venue where they can maybe at least be a little bit more accommodating regarding, you look at the crowds and it's just it's not a very good visual.
Right. And really, that's one of the reasons TV was never there until at least till the championship
if you have a
game.
smaller arena, it looks like the crowds maybe are a little bigger. And that, I think, even has a little effect on the players to some degree.
I think it hurts the game for the girls.
Yeah.
Doesn't promote it right.
You don't want to play in front of an empty arena. That's what it looks like.
And they made the Ritter Arena, that was donated money for ladies hockey.
Jeez.
And that's a perfect venue.
Yeah.
And if it gets overcrowded there, they can either move it right next door to Mariucci or even bring it back down to. But hey, let's make it more exciting and put it in a place that the atmosphere is going to be 10 times greater.
Well, again, the UMD women play the Gophers. Wisconsin will play North Dakota. The winners of those games will play one or the other. I'm going to go with Wisconsin and
with their goaltender.
UMD.
Wow. That sounds like a good one to me.
I think the Bulldogs are set up to pull off a big win. And
they're playing good hockey.
They played Wisconsin. They played them well, a 1-goal loss, overtime loss, and then the following game they got beat pretty badly. But they're capable of beating the Gophers. I don't know if they're capable of beating Wisconsin, but they got to beat the Gophers in order to play Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And I think it's safe to say Wisconsin's going to beat North Dakota. So
there you go. That's two good teams.
Yeah. I don't think those are two bold predictions, but
right.
All right.
In the men, the Gophers split with Wisconsin.
Yeah.
This weekend, and
I saw that.
And I thought Wisconsin was going to tie that game up. They had that goal right in the crease.
Bessie.
There. There's our Benil boy.
Yeah.
Local boy from the cities.
Well, it's funny you say that because Grant Bessie's attempt to tie it in the final minutes was cleared out of harm's way as his shot hit the goal line.
Well, I know, I'm just sitting there, and then all of a sudden another player just took it away from there.
And the two teams split the 2-game series this past weekend, Minnesota and Wisconsin, and the 4-game series also split. The Badgers are in second place in the Big Ten, 3 points behind the Gophers. And this Minnesota Wild draft pick, Luke Cunnin, 20 goals this season for Wisconsin.
He's a heck of a player.
Yeah.
He has great hands and he can skate.
Yeah.
He's a very good skater.
Speaking of the Minnesota Wild, and we'll come back to some Bulldog hockey talk, the Minnesota Wild bolstered their team. Multiple, this is a little, we'll get back to the, Martin Hansel, center, was acquired, along with winger Ryan White from the Arizona Coyotes, also a 4th-round pick. So you get Hansel, White, and a 4th-round pick from Arizona. In exchange, the Wild sent their 1st-round pick this year, a 2nd-round selection next year, a conditional pick in 2019, and Arizona also got Iowa Wild centerman Grayson Downing. The 30-year-old Hansel has 16 goals, 10 assists this year. White has 7 goals, 6 helpers. The NHL trade deadline will be Wednesday, but Chuck Flesher says that they were targeting Hansel and they feel it's a good acquisition.
Yeah, we'll see. The only thing that bothers me with this trade is that
a 1st-round draft
you're
pick?
Probably not going to keep him after the year's up. I mean,
well, that happened with Stewart a couple of years ago,
but my worry is the chemistry. Is the chemistry going to be there, or are a couple players now aren't going to be playing when these two guys come in now?
Yeah, that's a fear that you have when you do these types of things. The Wild seem to have been very fortunate when they've done these types of trades or acquisitions. So I feel confident that Chuck Fletcher's done the right thing, and this is going to bolster this team.
And
another centerman.
the players should know that this is a business, and they think their best chance of winning the Stanley Cup is right now.
Right.
So let's do it. Let's
Right.
do anything that can booster this team
Sure.
a little bit.
Yeah.
We don't know how much it's going to boost her, but this guy is a big center. He's about 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah. Yeah, he's a 30-year-old, over first round draft pick. 16 goals, 10 assists, so his numbers are...
Great face-off guy.
Yeah.
Good two-way guy. Penalty killer. So you got a guy that will do a lot. He'll be out on the ice a lot for the Wild.
Yeah.
And he'll cause havoc, I know.
Yep.
Because I've watched, Arizona doesn't have too much talent.
And if anything, if, God forbid, somebody gets injured like a Stahl or a Koivu, now you've got another center that can hopefully step in here. But
And then another player, by the way, they signed was Ryan Carter. That was an ex-Wild player. And then he got injured. Now they re-signed him on a two-way contract. They put him through waivers because of this trade right now. And so that means he made it through waivers, so he'll play down in Iowa. But if someone got injured or something like that, they can bring him up at any time, and he can help the team out too on certain things. He's not going to be a scorer, but he's going to be like a penalty kill guy. He's going to be a fourth line guy with grit.
Right.
So hey, they might have some of the pieces that they need.
Well, you're right, and what this does really is just adds depth, and you need that if you're going to be a championship team heading into the playoffs.
Right, and I'll tell you one thing, this game is getting so fast and the players so big, there's always going to be injuries.
It's funny you say that, because I was talking to a friend a while back, actually, and I thought, I kind of like that old style game where there was more ice, it was a little bit more open.
Rink rat stuff.
Yeah, now the checking is so tight, and if you get the puck on your stick, you've got a second and a half to decide what to do with it.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a lot more open ice back in the day, but the game has changed, and it's very technical too.
If your body's turned the wrong way, you can get killed.
So the Minnesota Wild acquisition that will bolster the team. Hopefully, they had a extended, the bye week is what the NHL calls it. They lost last Tuesday in St. Paul to Chicago, and they'll play tonight, Monday. We're taping. They're going to play Los Angeles.
Right. And we got a local Duluth boy that'll be coming in from L.A., Derek Forbert.
Yeah.
He was he previously played at down at Duluth East. And then he went his senior year out at Ann Arbor in the Development League. And then he got recruited and committed to North Dakota, where he played 3 years. And then he was a first-round draft pick, too, when he came out of the development team. So he was number 15th overall, I think.
That Monday night game will be the 8th game in an 8-game homestand. I believe that's the longest homestand this franchise has ever had. The Wild will play Tuesday in Winnipeg, and then they'll play Thursday at Columbus. That's a 6 o'clock start. And then they have Friday and Saturday off. The Wild will come back for a short 2-game homestand. Sunday, March 5th, they'll host San Jose. Sunday, the 5th at 5 o'clock. And then Tuesday, the 7th of March, 7 o'clock, St. Louis. And then the boys take off for a 2, 4, 5-game road trip.
Yeah, that's some tough games because, L.A. and Winnipeg, they're the next two teams just out of the playoff spot right now. And I'll tell you what, they're going to play their butts off in these two games because they need points to try to get into that playoff spot. Then they have Columbus, which is one of the top teams in the Eastern Division. And I tell you what, doesn't get easier. San Jose then comes to town. They're number 1 in the Pacific. And then St. Louis, which is the last of the wild card right now. So none of these teams are going to give up anything. They're going to go at you because they need every one of these teams wants points.
And let's look ahead slightly, shall we, to March 12th at Chicago, NBC Sports Network. And then Tuesday, March 14th at Washington. Finally, the Wild in Washington will square off.
Right.
Two of the best teams in the league.
Right.
Literally.
Boy, we got a tough schedule.
Yeah.
And it's going to be funny coming off this break. I'm not a big fan of it, That's something new they're doing this
Well,
year.
Bruce Siskey brought up a good point that if you're going to do this, at least make it fair. Don't have a team coming off a break playing a team that's been playing regularly. Have
Everyone.
teams match up that both teams are coming out of the bye.
Right.
That
makes sense.
That would make it fair. So
Right.
I don't know if that's what they're going to do or look into, but the Minnesota Wild playing very well atop the Western Conference. They have a 1-point lead over Chicago as of this taping, but they have 3 games in hand with Chicago.
Right. And the only nice thing about having a break is if you have some injuries or just some bumps and bruises, it gives you a little time to heal. So that's about the only positive thing, I think, a break. I just never understand breaks at this time of the season.
Well, this is something new that the NHL has done with this bye week.
Right. I think the players' union, got this.
Yeah. I think it's, I don't know, it's a little silly. But,
Just kind of funny to take your golf clubs and go some warm place and play golf.
Well, especially a team like the Wild, they're playing so well.
Right.
You got all that chemistry going, but I don't think it'll have too much of an impact.
We'll see.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of talk about it tonight if they lose.
Yeah. Say, a local gal done good. The New England Hockey Conference,
Yep.
Norwich University out in Vermont.
Okay.
Their women's ice hockey team, a lot of postseason awards. Freshman forward Amanda Conway was named the NEHC Rookie of the Year. And Sophie McGovern of Hermantown rounded out Norwich's selection on the all-rookie team.
Wow.
Conway was joined by McGovern on the all-rookie team as the dynamic freshman duo finished 1-2 in NEHC scoring. McGovern scored 9 goals, 10 assists, 19 points overall. She scored 7 goals and 10 assists in 16 NEHC games. McGovern and Conway were each named the NEHC Rookie of the Week, once throughout the season. So congratulations to Sophie McGovern of Hermantown in her hockey. She's a freshman. Again, the New England Hockey Conference, Norwich University.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, good for her.
Bulldogs, again, the Bulldog men, they had a Thursday game with Miami University. They had a 4-3 lead. Miami pulled their goalie. And the save of the game, Jerry, was actually a blocked shot in the final seconds by Dominic Toninato to secure the win, really.
Right.
And
boy, he's playing good right now.
He really is.
If you watch this kid, the way he gets to the net, the way he comes back, how strong he is on that puck, and oh man, it's fun watching him now.
Toronto Maple Leafs drafted Dominic Toninato. I'm a little unhappy about that. I wish our Minnesota Wild could, but that's the way it goes. Then Friday night, the Bulldogs in Miami played, and Miami got that overtime win.
Yeah, they got a goal in the 3-on-3, and so they got the extra point there.
And Denver doesn't; they're not letting up at all.
So the only way the Bulldogs can win the conference now is basically they got to win both their games, and Denver has to lose to Colorado. I think is it Omaha? Omaha. Mm-hmm. They have to lose to Omaha both games.
Yeah. So. I don't know if I like this 3 points for a win.
I don't get it where after you ended the regulation, they don't get a point either. They have to go another period.
Yeah.
Then there's a point.
God, why do they struggle with this? It's not that difficult. Jeez. They got the goofiest thing in college hockey where they play regulation, then they play an overtime, then they play another overtime, and then they play a shootout that doesn't count.
Yep.
It's
kind of funny. I was looking over my rankings the week before, and since the playoffs been going pretty strong now, and most of the sections are getting to the final championship game now. Most of them. There's about 4 sections that still have semis. But in Class AA, there's only of the top 10 teams, only 1 team lost so far, and that's Elk River, who I had number 3. And then over in Class A, of the 10 teams, the only team that lost was Hibbing, and the only reason they played another top 10 team, Greenway. But all the other teams like Hermantown, Breck, and Delano most likely will be in the finals, I'd say. And St. Paul Academy and Montemita will be playing most likely in their finals. And then they got Alex and St. Cloud Cathedral in their finals probably. So we got a lot of teams are are in the top 10 playing each other for the section championships. So that should be fun this week. And let's see, over in Class AA, like I said, there's a good chance that we can get Eden Prairie and Holy Family Catholic on Wednesday night at Mariucci. Oh, it is. That is the game already. And then Wayzata and Edina. So if you're down in the cities, that's where I'd be. Then on Thursday night, I would be up here at Amsoil in Duluth. It's just they're always classic games. It seems like.
Yeah.
When they got the TV going, and they always come close to filling the house.
Yeah.
So when you put it on TV all over the state, northern Michigan, up into Canada, even people pick it up.
Yeah.
So that's just a great venue. So
sure. Let me ask you, if Hermantown wins Class A this year,
right,
will there be a lot of people hollering and screaming for them to move up to AA, and why?
Here's the funny thing. I talked to a lot of Hermantown people. They don't like it either. They don't like going to these games when they play the weaker teams and knowing that it's not fun to watch when it's running time all the time. And every team in their section is running time. And so they kind of say enough is enough. They want to move
really?
up. And they understand that they might be down for 2 or 3 years, and they might not even come close to going to state. But there will be years that they will be.
Now, there's a threshold for teams that, or schools rather, that have so many students enrolled have to play a AA schedule, like large schools.
Well, they don't. Well, if they're in AA.
No, I understand. Just follow along here.
Okay.
There are schools that, for Edina couldn't play Class A. Because, right, because the enrollment numbers dictate that they play.
Right.
So then why should Hermantown be scrutinized if they fall in the guidelines of playing in Class
Legally,
A?
they can do it.
Right.
But a lot of people say, well, they recruit. They get open enrollment where kids come in from all over. And so that's kind of a hockey school. It's like saying...
But they're within the numbers. They're within the parameters.
Yes, legally they can do it.
Sure.
Morally, that's where people say
Oh,
it.
well, I don't know if we're going to look at it that way, but...
We'll go to church and ask Father.
There you go. There you go. Well, you do that, and everything will be just fine. Hey, we've come to the end of the show. Boy, this is the time of the year where things are really cooking. The NHL is winding down. The high school hockey is in the midst of their start of their playoffs. College hockey on the verge of their playoffs. So, yeah, things are really going. We want to thank the staff at PACT-TV, where this program is produced, in City Hall, PACT-TV Studios. And, Jerry, you can go to our Facebook page. Like us on Facebook, please. And our regular website, mnhockeyconnection.com. The Minnesota Hockey Connection is also available on YouTube. And that's it, Jer. We'll be back here next week to drop the puck.
So get out to the rink and see some playoff hockey. There's going to be some great games this week.
See you next week.